Hey, magical people. Welcome to the Noonlight Cafe. Here, I dive into all things that speaks to the hero's journey. And that hero is, of course, you. I am Arabelle. Now, let's get into this mind meld. Today, I want to talk about something that I've struggled throughout my life. And just recently found out that there's a name attached to the internal challenges that I had struggled with, and it's called Imposter Syndrome. I've had self-doubt. I struggled with questioning whether I was talented enough, smart enough, skilled enough. I've had a pretty, decent career. I've landed jobs at really great companies, reputable companies that look really good on my resume, on my portfolio. But I always questioned whether I was deserving of those positions, whether I deserved to be there. And as a graphic designer, I always questioned whether my design skills were up to par. I always felt like that there were other designers that were a lot better than I was. And of course, there were. I had just started off. And there's always going to be someone that's better than you. That's just a fact. It's a fact that we all have to accept, right? But I always questioned whether my skills were up to par, and whether, the people that I worked with, if they looked at me and, questioned, why was I there? These were things that were always lingering around. These are the thoughts that just bothered me every single day of my life as a designer. So I found out with imposter syndrome, sometimes it can be rooted in your childhood. Whatever level of trauma that you experienced during your childhood, whether it's the extreme level of trauma or mild, or small, little impact of an experience that to you and to others may not be that big, but as a child, it does have an effect on you as a child, and it lingers, it stays in the body, it hangs around, it's in your subconscious. And as you know, the subconscious is really what rules you, what controls you, right? And so, within the last 2 years, I did a lot of inner investigating, and a lot of meditating, and figured out, where my trauma is rooted in, right? I also, whenever that imposter syndrome, tries to sneak in, right? I try to think about where within my body, am I feeling it, right? Because the imposter, it's not just that it comes with this self-doubt. It's a little bit of a hurt, a pain, at least for me, that I feel. And I check in with myself, and I, figure out where that hurt is kind of sitting, whether it's in my belly, whether it's in my head, my feet, wherever it is. I check in with that hurt and do some really deep breathing in, right? So, imposter syndrome, from what I understand, it doesn't go away. And it's really just a matter of managing that imposter. Most of us, I wouldn't say all of us, because there are some real confident people out there that I wish I could be like. But a lot of us do struggle with self-doubt. We struggle with, fears of, whether we're able to do the things that, we want to set out to do, I think one of the best ways to manage your imposter is to acknowledge that it's there, right? Acknowledge that your imposter has an effect on you. Acknowledge that you have these feelings, but also acknowledge that they are valid. It's okay to say that they are valid. It's okay to say, okay, well, I have these fears. And then once you acknowledge that you have those fears, then it's easy for you to figure out a way to kind of deal with it, right? Because if you don't know, what it is that's wrong, if you don't know what it is that you're afraid of, you don't know how to remedy that, right? So acknowledge your imposter, acknowledge your self-doubt, acknowledge your fear, and tell yourself it's okay. It's okay that they're there. And then once you acknowledge, that, where it's rooted, once you understand where it's rooted in, it's also easier for you to say, it's okay. Give yourself a hug, smile at yourself, and say, I understand. I understand where it comes from. I understand that you're here, and I'm acknowledging that you're here. Now let's work together to remedy this pain, this hurt, these feelings that really stop me from becoming the best version of myself, right? And so another little thing that I do that helps me when I feel it coming on. Mel Robbins, she has this 5-second countdown, and I think it has really helped me within the last year. Whenever I feel it coming on, whenever I start telling myself, oh, you can't do this, or like you're not good at this, or don't even attempt to do this. Like now, I did not want to do this video. I did not want to get on in front of the camera today because I didn't feel like I was prepared, or didn't really want to get into this personal issue that I have. And I told myself, okay, tell yourself these things for like 1 minute and get out of it. Like just get out of it, right? And so the 5-second countdown, you feel it coming on, and you just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And once you get to that 1, you need to have like this sort of anchor that where it's like you're telling yourself, okay, once I'm there, I'm stepping into another mind space. I'm stepping into another physical space. I'm going to do something once I'm down to 1. I think it's a really helpful trick. It has helped me a lot of the times. And here I am in front of the camera doing this video. Another way that I manage my imposter is through breathing. I think a lot of the times we kind of ignore our breath. I notice that when I'm in a state of anxiety or in a state of fear, my breathing is very shallow, right? And I notice when I have 2 little tiny ones, a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and an older one. But I noticed, when they were babies, that the way that they breathed, their breath was just so deep, so deep. And I noticed that I don't breathe like that. And I think my babies kind of taught me how to breathe better. So whenever I'm in a state of fear or a state of anxiety, I think about how my babies, how when they were really tiny, how I would watch them breathe, just the way that their chest would move up and down, right? Just deep breathing. Just do some deep breathing when you're in a state of just this uncomfortable state. Do some deep breathing. It allows you to think better, have some clarity, and it just really makes your body, you stand a little taller, you just feel better when you are allowing the right amount of oxygen to circulate through your body, into your brain. It allows you to think better. And another way that I manage my imposter is to mentally list out, the facts. There are things that are not real, As a designer, I know that I am a good designer. I know that I am skilled, or else I would not have been in the positions that I was in with these reputable companies, right? So I always have to check in with myself and say, well, all of these things that I doubt about myself, all of these negative thoughts, that are telling me that, I haven't accomplished enough, or I haven't done this, or I haven't done that. I check in and I say, well, I did this. I have clients that tell me that I'm great at what I do. I have friends, and family members that tell me that I'm a good mother. I have friends that tell me that I am smart enough, I am good enough, and gosh darn it, So, positive affirmations are so important. I'm not good at writing down my affirmations. I've tried and I can never stick to it. But what I am good at is talking to myself. Sometimes I allow the negative thoughts to linger and do what they want to do for a little bit. And then I say, well, I give it a certain amount of time to be in that space. And then I combat that. I combat those negative thoughts with positive thinking. I wake up in the morning, my anxieties, it's almost as if when you wake up, those negative thoughts are just hanging around, under your pillows, some, hanging around in the dark corners, waiting for you to open your eyes, waiting for you to be conscious, wake up so that they can just jump at you, right? Ready to attack. And so I wake up in the morning ready for it. And I'm ready for the response. I allow it to attack, and then I attack back with positive thinking and positive affirmations. Sometimes it doesn't go well, but you always have to tell yourself, okay, this particular tactic, this particular trick didn't work this morning, but I'm going to continue on. You have to stay consistent. Stay on top of your thoughts, stay on top of your affirmations, talk to yourself as often as you can. If you're good at writing down your thoughts, do that. Do something to combat that imposter, because that imposter is not going away. It's gonna hang around. It's been around for a long amount of years. It's been around for me for a long amount of years. And I know it's not gonna go away, but I know I have these and these little tricks. I have these tools that will help me throughout the day to manage it, to quiet it down a little bit, and you can do the same thing. So don't allow your imposter to overwhelm you. Don't allow your imposter to control you. You know, our minds, you know, has a mind of its own, you know, but we can control it. And the only way we can have control over these thoughts is to stay consistent, to acknowledge, and to tell yourself that it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Things will get better as long as you stay on top of it. Don't allow it to take over. All right? So that's all I got for you. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. All right.